I guess. So this is Braxton and Rex's video first role play. So first analysis of the apartment anarchy case A. So mine, the write out was a little long, but as far as my thoughts on what I would have Ben do, I think Ben, as we talked about in class, needs to do some self-reflecting, see what his personal motives are, and make sure that he's really truly acting out of a love for Mark. Mark obviously does have issues, but we don't know where those issues come from. So as I talked about in my analysis, I think the problem's not something that Ben's going to be able to fix overnight or in just one conversation, because these problems that Mark is having, they're obviously not just small issues, but it's really seems like it's Mark's character, and that's going to take some time for Ben to be able to really understand and be able to help Mark. And so I think if Ben takes the route of, once he truly can feel like he can act out of love for Mark, then he needs to start trying to spend some time with Mark, do things to get Mark away from the situation with the other two roommates, spend some time together maybe at the apartment, and as they become closer friends, Ben can talk with Mark about how he feels about this situation, and he'll be able to get to know Mark and understand Mark's side, why Mark's acting like that, and try and understand some of Mark's background. And so as he does this, he'll be able to know maybe what needs aren't being met in Mark's life and how he could help meet those needs, or what he can do to fix that. And as he does that, hopefully it'll help Mark to change his nature, helping the whole situation in the apartment. So, yeah.
Cool. I pretty much came to the same conclusion with my analysis as well. When I first read through the story, I felt like maybe Ben was just taking himself out of the situation altogether, not really helping the situation at all with him in the beginning, saying, I dreaded going home and I try not to be home. And so, kind of with that and with other things that we kind of talked about and what Braxton was saying, it is kind of hard, I think, to be Mark at the same time as it's hard for Ben to be in the situation with Mark. Like Braxton was saying, there's a lot of unmet needs that Ben doesn't know about that Mark has, and because of that, Ben is being, I think, kind of rash and not really trying to see the situation for what it really is, and kind of making the situation worse instead of making it better. So like Braxton said, I think it'd be a good idea for Ben to really sit down and try to think of not necessarily what Mark can do to help the situation out, but what Ben can do to help the situation out. What Ben is doing to either further the cause of Mark and the Marauders, or by helping Mark through his times of need or trial, whatever else. And so I think if he really steps outside of the situation and looks at it with a different perspective, that might help out a lot with the situation. And then, as Braxton said, go in and start trying to build that relationship up, because at the beginning of the semester they didn't have a relationship at all. So I think if they start building on that relationship, Ben going to Mark's things, and then going from there, sharing personal experiences, and just really trying to be a friend, I think that's a very good way to start off. And then as that friendship builds, then Ben can address those things that Mark is doing in hopefully a non-threatening way and in a friendly way, and in a way that Mark can see that he really cares for Mark. So that's kind of what I thought, and that's what we have come to a conclusion of.
Yeah. So there's kind of our analysis. From what we understand, we're supposed to film this whole meeting. So we're going to work on now developing a narrative before we start to role play.
Cool. So it says for us to be counselors to Ben.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know if this is the right way to do it, but do you want us to do one of us be the counselor, one of us be Ben?
Yeah, let's try and see how that goes. That way we can see Ben's response.
Okay.
what route do you think we should take? Like the counselor should take?
I think kind of what we're talking about, just trying to get Ben to really see the situation for what it is, and that it's not just what's outwardly happened, but something else is going on and deeper into Mark's, his situation. That it's not just him breaking the rules just to break the rules. It's him kind of crying out, saying, "Someone, I need attention in some way, shape, or form." Maybe.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. I think also helping Ben to focus beyond like just his immediate needs. I think because of how stressful the situation and all the other elements, it's something he's not necessarily thinking clearly about just because everything's so overwhelming. So I think starting there, I think maybe starting off by asking some questions to see where, like, what Ben's understanding of is, what his understanding is of the situation, because we only know what we've read.
Right.
So maybe find out some additional information.
Right.
But,
and something else I just thought of also as a counselor to kind of tell Ben, not necessarily that it's his fault, but that he needs to take a little bit of responsibility for kind of the stuff that's happening, because he's saying, I don't want to be at home, and so he's really negative towards the whole situation too. And so that's definitely not helping at all. And a negative attitude doesn't really help, trying to resolve the issue. So I think that's something else that we could point out to him, and not necessarily in a negative way, but just saying, hey, it's not necessarily a good thing for you to be acting so negatively towards the other three roommates.
Yeah, I agree. So I guess end goal. How do we want Ben leaving? Feeling?
I think we need to have Ben leaving, kind of feeling he's got some responsibilities to take, and he's got some, not necessarily homework, but kind of like a duty to try and better the situation and to understand Mark better. Mm-hmm. And not just him doing it, but him wanting to do it.
Yeah.
Him, trying to get his heart where it should be, his motives in the right place.
Yeah. I think we read that talk and discussed in class today.
Right.
We can talk to Ben about doing self-reflection himself and saying, look, if you want to be a good leader, like, here's some of the attributes you need.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you have these? What can you start doing first to get those?
Right.
So,
I like it.
All right. Do you want to be Ben or the counselor first?
I honestly don't care.
Okay. I'll be Ben, and then we can switch off at like different times.
Okay, sounds good. Cool. So Ben, you asked to see me. I'll just say that I'm like the Elders Quorum president.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, as you know, Mark and the other two of our other roommates, they haven't really been coming to church or family home evening and stuff.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
And there's just been some other concerns, and I don't really want to like rat them out. That's not really my intent. But it's like a really hard living situation. I feel like I can't even be at home, and I don't feel the spirit in the home, and really just uncomfortable overall. And I'm worried about Mark. We're like a little bit kind of friends, but not super close. But he's kind of seems like he's gone astray, and so I don't really know what to do about the situation. So I just thought I'd seek some help.
Right. So from what I understand, he's they're breaking some honor code rules, like curfew and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they do that. They're out pretty late generally, or they have people over in an apartment really late.
Okay, I got you.
So
you said that you guys didn't really have that good of a relationship before this, or that you guys were just kind of knew of each other, kind of.
Yeah.
Right. So like, what are some of his interests, maybe? Because we're trying to think of ways that maybe get to know him a little bit better, since your relationship isn't very strong. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't really know. He maybe seems like he's sporty, like wears a lot of Nike stuff, so I assume he's like sports.
I gotcha.
Dresses.
Okay.
But I don't really know what he does with his free time when he's out with them. So
I gotcha. Do you think if you knew him a little better, you could maybe look at the situation a bit differently, maybe?
Possibly. I mean, like, I pretty much know like he's not doing what he's supposed to, and I know.
Right.
Like,
Do you know why?
he's
Maybe.
blowing off classes. I don't actually. Maybe his roommates, but
Okay. Now I'm sure your other two roommates. I know them pretty well. They're RMs, they're good dudes. But I know in my situation at least, whenever I was on my mission, whenever we had investigators, if they had a little issue, we'd always invite them to be baptized. I would say, "Oh, I'm still doing this, still doing that." There's usually something else behind it, And so I think that him breaking curfew and these other little things that he's doing, it might not necessarily be him doing it just to do it, but it might be like a subliminal cry for help almost. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So maybe if we give that a little bit more attention, that could help the situation out. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's worth a shot.
Yeah.
I don't know how. Like, I guess, what do you think the best way to start doing that would be?
Well, I think kind of like I said, trying to get to know him a little bit better. Because I think you guys might have rushed into rooming together pretty quick.
Yeah. I just like that he's always gone, and we don't really seem to like relate on things.
Right.
And I tried cleaning the room once, and he almost seemed upset with me.
Really?
Like cleaning his bedroom. That didn't make sense to me. So I don't know. I think it just seems that like he's got a problem, and I don't really know how to start getting to know him.
Right.
I don't know if it's really worth it because I don't want to get dragged down into like the situation with Mark and the other guys who start breaking rules.
I agree. No, it's never a good thing to get in those kinds of situations and to do those kinds of things. But
do you want to pause for a second?
Yeah, we can.
So it's interesting just being Ben as we were talking. Like, I definitely felt like he had the attitude.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting that too.
That he doesn't care that much about Mark. Yeah, he cares more about his own situation.
Right.
And, like, it would be uncomfortable for him to get to know Mark and get involved in that.
And I get the feeling that he's more worried about being caught without telling someone that he's breaking the rules. That's kind of how I'm feeling right now. That Ben's more concerned with being like an accomplice than trying to help the situation out.
Yeah, I totally agree. He's he wants to be fixed, but doesn't want to have to.
He doesn't want to get exactly. Doesn't want to get into the mess of it.
So, okay. Do you want to keep going as counselor or switch off?
We can switch off if you want.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
So Ben, why do you think I don't know? Did Mark? You said you didn't know him super well, but you guys are from the same state, right?
Right. Yeah.
What was he like in high school or when you knew him before?
We're in the same state. We didn't go to the same high school, but from what I know, just from people talking about him, he was kind of like the high school jock. He was always in the athletic department and always doing the athletic stuff. I think he was in the football team, on the basketball team. So he was always doing some kind of sport both semesters, but that's about it. I think.
Okay.
I can't really recall much.
So you didn't know him super well.
No.
Okay. How well do you think Mark knows you?
Probably about the same as I know him.
Yeah. What do you think he thinks of you right now, being your roommate?
I don't know. I didn't really think about that, but I think, I don't know, I guess you might think that I'm kind of pushing, trying to just shove him, shove down his throat, doing the right stuff instead of, trying to be a cool guy or whatever, I guess.
Yeah. Have you ever had someone do that to you where you felt like they were kind of pushing stuff on you?
Yeah.
How'd you react to that?
Probably about the same way that Mark's reacting.
Yeah, I think that's how we all react. None of us like being told we're wrong.
Right.
But have you ever had like a situation where someone's come to you and you really felt that they cared about you and wanted the best for you and loved you, and they kind of show you some things you could be doing better, and you felt touched by it instead of wanting to rebel and resist, but you actually felt like they cared about you?
For sure, yeah.
Yeah. Did that lead you to change some of your ways in the past?
Yeah, no, for sure. It made me think a little bit harder on some of the stuff that I was doing, and I really felt like they had my best interest at heart, and the advice they gave me I felt was pretty solid, and so I went with it, and it turned out for the best.
Yeah. Do you think Mark needs someone like that in his life?
Yeah, probably.
I think the question is for you is, can you be that person? Because there's a lot of things that you've been worrying about, and they're definitely hard things.
Mm-hmm.
But can you be the person that Mark needs that can love him, even though he's not doing the right things right now, still love him as the Savior would?
Yeah, I think I can and I should.
Yeah. Do you think you're there yet right now?
No, I think I'm pretty negative towards the whole situation right now. Definitely not the way that Christ would handle it, probably.
Okay.
But that's something I need to work on and get there.
What are some things I guess you think you feel like you could start doing to get there?
I think definitely I can start to get to know him a little bit better. I mean, since we are roommates, and we have some downtime together, I guess, between classes and between him going out with our other two roommates. I could probably try and get to know him a little bit better and see how that works.
Yeah, maybe go play basketball. He likes sports. Like, go do something fun that he likes to do.
Right.
And try and think of him in that way. But I think that's going to help a ton. So.
Okay, cool. I think that'll help for sure.
All right. How do you think that went?
I think that went pretty good.
Yeah.
I hope that's what you wanted. If not, we can do it again next time. Better. But I don't know. What you think? I think
it went well. I like just being in situations, and I think we've probably both been in situations on the mission or in just different points in life where you do have to sit someone down and talk to them like we did. Having the plan beforehand and using the iPlan model really helped, I think,
for sure,
know how to address the situation.
I agree. Well, cool.
Awesome.